Welcome to my humble abode, darlings. Come in out of the rain and get comfortable. I have a story to tell you, and I hope you enjoy. If you do, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Flesh by Scare in a Box. Consciousness came suddenly. He found himself in an empty corridor, completely silent. The walls, ceilings, and floors were made of a strange material, soft in appearance, as if they were covered in velvet. There was a soft light illuminating it, with a reddish tint. What's this empty corridor? He thought. He tried to look back, and it was at that moment he realized that there was something strange, something with his body. He couldn't feel it. He didn't feel his legs, his arms. He didn't even feel his eyelids. And now that he came to think of it, he hadn't blinked since he was awake. Had he opened his eyes when he regained consciousness? He didn't remember doing it. Why I cannot see my body? Why I cannot feel it? The deadly silence was interrupted by a mechanical sound. A strange feeling invaded him. How is it possible not to feel the body, but to feel that? A kind of electric current throbbing, compressing, pain. It was pain, and it ran through him as if his body was constantly being crushed. He searched for the source of the sound. He didn't know how he could focus without feeling his eyes, but he did. A machine was running down the hall. It looked like a metallic spider. Its elongated body had at least 8 legs that moved, sticking their ends into floors and walls. Those ends were blades, sharp swords that cut through the soft material the corridor was made of. And with each cut, a wave of pain washed over him. But he couldn't scream. It was impossible for him. He couldn't feel his face to open his mouth, his throat, his lips. He could only scream in his mind. Why? It was the only thing he could think of. Why is this happening to me? "Hello, human," a synthetic voice, as if it were a computer, spoke in his mind. "Welcome to the body simulator." It paused. Body simulator? What was it talking about? "Your body was discarded and your brain preserved. Don't worry, you will be kept connected to our amazing technology forever." The voice seemed too happy to communicating the information that he meanwhile felt how terror flooded him more and more. "You were connected to the cameras in the corridor as well as the artificial flesh that covers it. Don't worry, we have plenty of pain-inducing pets to keep you going for ages." Panic washed over him, and he still had lungs and a beating heart. He was sure his breathing and heartbeat would have increased 100%. He yelled into his mind once more. The metallic creature continued to walk down the corridor, cutting skin, his skin with its blades. The only thing he could hear was the sound of bushes moving. "Why are you doing this to me? I didn't ask for it. I want my body back," he screamed into his mind, the only way he had to communicate. Nobody answered. Even knowing that he didn't have a body, the instinct was stronger, and he tried to move his arms, hit things, kick. Nothing worked. Of course, despite being connected to the corridor, nothing changed in it. The pain kept going through his mind. If he left it, he was sure that it would take over his mind completely. "Get me out of here!" he screamed. He cried. There were no tears, of course. But he could feel himself crying because he remembered the feeling. "I don't want this. I never asked for this." The pain stopped suddenly. The machine had stopped moving. The corridor was completely silent again, as was his mind. The reddish light reflected off the metallic body of the creature, giving it a reddish hue as well. From a certain angle, it seemed to be on fire. From another, it seemed that his mechanical eyes, lifeless, were full of anger. He basked in relief, for he didn't know how long. How to know how much time passed in this place? How to know that the minutes passed at all? Everything was static and silent. Nothing changed. That unsettled him. "Hello?" he asked. "Is there someone?" There was no answer. The synthetic voice did not speak to him again. Was he still alive? He couldn't feel anything, only his thoughts. Not even time passed there. Was he even existing? An incredible anguish invaded him. Did he exist? Had he ceased to exist? His brain was still alive. That's what the voice had said, but was that enough? If he continued to have a body, he was sure he would have had a lump in his throat. He would be biting his nails, shuffling his feet, biting his lips. The only thing he could do, however, was change viewing angles. He didn't understand how he was doing it, but he could change his field of view by going from one camera to the other. He saw the corridor from various angles. The flesh that covered it was the same on all sides. He couldn't even see the parts where the machine had cut him. Had he healed automatically? Maybe. The machine itself was still static. Some of its legs were stuck in the ground, but the others were in the air. He couldn't feel the perforations. He didn't feel anything. "Get me out of here," he thought. He couldn't do more than that. Think. "I want to return to my body." He wanted to cry, to lie on his bed and cry there all night. This must be worse than dying, he told himself. Dead, at least he wouldn't think anything, right? Or at least that's what he supposed. That led to another question. "Can I sleep?" He asked him to nothing. Again, no one answered. He tried to do it, falling asleep. But how to sleep when he didn't have a tired body? He tried to stop thinking, to make his mind relax, so that he could fall prey to sleep. He used the technique that he used when he had insomnia. Nothing worked. His brain was still working. Consciousness did not leave him. He still didn't know how much time had passed. Hours, days, years. It was impossible to know. He felt that he could go crazy in that place. Was he going crazy? Was madness possible in such a place? If he had no body, if he was isolated, if he was just a brain floating in some strange liquid that kept him alive, what defined insanity? All of this was crazy. More silence, in the corridor and in his mind. Again trying to sleep without success. Again an indefinite time without feeling anything at all. What have I become? Am I even human? His thoughts were now scattered. Something fluttered through his mind, and, had he a throat, he would have burst out laughing. "Please turn the machine back on," he thought. Once again no one answered, but the metallic spider began to move again. The blades ripped through his skin. Pain washed through him, and he finally felt again. He could cry, scream in pain and in happiness. He felt again. He was human again. So quoth this raven. Reminiscent of Johnny Cash's version of Hurt, I think. But interesting nonetheless. Brains in a jar are a common enough trope. But what exactly do they, or would they, since they don't exist, feel? Anyway, my darlings, have a beautiful day. Bye-bye. Thank you for stopping by, my darlings. It means so much. I so enjoy telling these stories for you. And here are some of my marvelous supporters. Please, if you haven't subscribed, consider doing so. If you give this video a like, it would help me out ever so much. Thank you, and have a lovely, lovely day.